Hello, and welcome back to Common Sense for Relationships. And today we have sisterhood. Yes, and you can see that I already have a sister in the house. Her name is Mrs. Aniema Ilori.
Hello everyone, good evening. It's good to be here.
Yes, it's good to be here. We actually miss having our live audience and getting all the feedback and all the banter and getting all those extra opinions, but we'll still address the subject that we set out to today on sisterhood, and I guess the rest of the gist and the discussion will happen in the chats when this video goes up. So go ahead and still feel free to express yourself. We'll come in and respond and all of that. Yes, so Aniema, it's good to have you here with us today. Aniema is a HR professional. Yes,
I am.
And she is a senior people partner.
Yes. And
So
I got my global certification today.
Whoa! So yes, please tell us about that.
Well, I had come to the point where the global certification was my next layer of growth.
Mm-hmm.
So I set out to do that. I started to prepare for the exam in October of last year. I just wrote the exam today, and thankfully I passed it.
Wow. I like how she said next level of growth. So this is a case where you are looking at not just now, you're future focused to some extent, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. So you're paying attention to what do we want to do next and working to achieve those goals. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. I pray that all the goodness and all the benefits that are supposed to come with this new season will come to you.
Amen.
Thank you. So to everyone over there, would like to ask you, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and do that. And while we're going through the discussion, if you hear anything that is wonderful, fantastic, adding value to you, please go ahead and like or like and share.
Like, share,
Like
subscribe.
and share. Yes, very important. All right, so our topic for today, getting straight into it because we're doing this for just 30 minutes and not the usual 1 hour. We're talking about this thing called marriage, and really this episode is about helping our sisters, our single sisters in the house, right, to prepare for marriage. What are the things that we should know? What are the things that we should pay attention to on this journey of getting ready for marriage? Are there certain things that we can do today for anyone who plans to get married in the future that will help you to have a beautiful, a blissful and peaceful, I'm focusing on first 2 years for obvious reasons, because people often say first 2 years are the most tumultuous, first 2 years plenty challenges, issues left, right and center, so can we have a blissful and peaceful first 2 years? That's the question. And what can we do to help us have that? So I'll go back to you. What do you want to start with?
Okay, I think it's first important that the audience knows that my marriage is just over 2 years, so I fit right into the bill for this conversation. Another thing I think is what's communicating is the fact that marriage is a journey of two people. So what that means is the person who's going into the relationship is you, and before you get into the relationship, the only party that you can control is yourself. So that's a call to self-improvement, self-development, one thing that has worked for myself and my husband the most in our first 2 years, because we've had a very bumpy ride, but we've never had any reason to scream at each other, even though they have the situations that warranted it. And I would say that that's a testimony to the fact that for us, respect is very important. So if we were not individually respectful people and were put in a situation where you needed to vent or anything, you would just find yourself expressing disrespect to the other person. So I say that to buttress the point that you need to work on yourself while you're single, while you're approaching marriage, right? Yourself is all that you have control over, and do the most you can with yourself in that time.
Yeah, really, really interesting. Learning respect, really important, because it will, and someone will say respect, I mean, respect, we use it for everyday relationships, right?
Do we?
You use respect for your teacher in primary school, for your parents at home, for your siblings, your elders,
for children, for
people in the
adults,
community,
everywhere.
and then of course respect is reciprocal. So even people who are younger than you have to treat them with respect.
Yes.
So it's not to treat them like trash and expect them to respect you. They may say, "Hey, you don't value me, so I'll treat you like crap."
So your everyday life, I would coin that as your everyday living, breathing, relating with people is your opportunity to practice what you would live out in marriage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you just learn to, that place that says pursue peace with all men, it's in the scripture, and there's the other part that talks about living a quiet life and so on. If you actually learn how to live in peace with many other people, with people around you, people you meet every day, you are really arming yourself for marriage. So to the people that are preparing, in that phase where you're like, I'm going to get married someday, just try and build some muscle. So if somebody is really annoying you in school, somebody is seriously annoying you
that's
at
an
work,
opportunity.
Look at it as an opportunity to build some muscle. Okay, so because definitely at some point your spouse will annoy you.
Yes.
They say that the people you love the most are the ones that have, in fact, the greatest ability to really
get on your nerves.
Yes, to more like touch you where it really hurts, because
it takes proximity to do that. And they're the closest to you.
Yeah, and a number of times they're the ones that know everything about you. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
The syphilis.
Yes, exactly. And they can decide to touch on, speak to, address something that people outside don't even know about you.
Yeah.
But because they are that close, they've seen it, and then they have now entered that space, and it's like, whoa, how on earth did we get here? Or how dare you? That kind, how dare you?
Yeah.
Is it because? Yeah. So how was it like finding your? Yes. So let me see. The Bible says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing." For ladies, what do? Should we just wait? Should we just sit down? Because the Bible says that he who finds a wife do ladies have any role? From your experience, was there anything you did that you could say was a way to enhance, or should I say, make the possibility of being found higher? Was there anything you did?
So two things. I think that we're in a culture that puts a lot of the responsibility for making the marriage relationship work on the man. But it's a two-way street. From my experience now, it's surely a two-way street. Before marriage, my journey is so peculiar, right? I and my husband had met each other a long time ago. Speaking numbers now, say 3 or 4 years before we actually even began to address the subject of even relationship. And when we even got to the point of relationship, my husband knew from like very soon, almost as soon as we got in, right, that he wanted to go further.
Okay.
Right, and so he proposed. But after proposal, we slowed down a bit. The slowing down came from my side, right? Because I started to, in retrospect, let's call it cold feet, right? And that took us through a 2-year period of waiting.
Wow.
Yes.
That's like ice feet, not just cold feet.
It was frozen. The feet was frozen and needed to be. So yeah, it took us through that period. But one thing that helped for me, it was a lot of praying, because I needed to. There were certain clarities that I was lacking, and the waiting was not without reason. By the way, it wasn't just cold feet. It was not without reason. Certain reasons I cannot put out, but eventually when we got to it, 2 years after proposal, we've had a smooth ride. You would think that the waiting period will enhance the smoothness of the ride, but I find that you're not married until you're married. So you would think that, okay, pre-marital dating and all of that. I mean, it's good. You get to know the person a little bit more, but you never really know anybody until you're living in the same house with them. Until you're confronted with true life, everyday challenges with this person. You see how they react to life. You see how they, take on responsibility. You see, do you understand? You never really get to know anybody before you start to live with them in that sense. And so for the ladies, I started to talk about the responsibility, society dumping the responsibility for a working marriage on men. But a lot of the responsibility also rests with us as women. Responsibility for understanding, responsibility for not seeing yourself as a figurehead in the relationship. You are in a team and you are an equal contributor. Whatever works in that relationship, it would be pointing at you as well. So while you're single, you should be getting ready to be a team player. You should be getting ready to be proactive. We talked about living peaceably, being respectful, and being respectful not just in the subservient sense where people think it's you should be, it's in the everyday response to the person. I mean, guy, you're annoying, but I'm respecting you, and and I'm not respecting you as a sense of duty. I'm respecting you as a proof of love, because I owe this responsibility to everybody. It's the same respect. I mean, this person just happens to be the closest to you, but it's the same respect you apply still. So as you're waiting, you're getting ready by arming yourself with the things that make you a worthy member of this relationship. Yeah.
Interesting. So who proposed? Was it you?
I thought I said that already. My husband.
No, I'm just bringing it up again.
My husband proposed.
But what do you think about a lady who may be in a relationship and the guy acts like he loves her, everything seems to check out, but he's just not asking the question? Do you have any thoughts on that? What would you advise?
So I feel that that may be her opportunity to ask the right questions, bite the bullet and see how he responds to it. If she asks questions like, where are we going? What's this about? What are your plans? Where do you see us on the long term? Questions like that can prompt him to tell you things, maybe not exactly what you want to hear, but it will give you a clue about what he has in mind as far as that relationship is concerned.
I like that, because if it doesn't prompt him to ask you, to propose, at least it will start a conversation.
Yes.
And
some men need nudges.
Yes, exactly. And just in case the person is the kind of person who doesn't know how to ask the question or is too afraid of getting a no and stuff like that, the conversation can now allow him to say what is on his mind.
Exactly. Which is the important thing,
and
not the theatrics.
Exactly. And you can also say what's on your mind.
Yes.
And that way he gets to say, oh, okay, she seems to be
seeing me in that light.
Because sometimes I think sometimes just waiting for this proposal, especially some people who say, oh, you must come, bend the knee, you have to go down on one knee, and there has to be a particular type of ring and a particular type of setting. Sometimes it may not be that way. So
I'm happy for you if you have all of those desires, but you should not put yourself in a box just by expecting. Sometimes for men it takes a lot of courage to even pop that question. So when you nudge somebody and he has that desire, he has that interest, he can ride on your nudge to say what he wants to say. He may not say it with all the drama, but the important thing is that he expresses his opinion as far as describing that relationship is concerned. And that's all you need to start to forge a way forward. Not necessarily the kneeling and the. I mean, it's nice. My husband kneels down.
It happens.
I have a friend. I mean, they're way gone in marriage now. They have children who are in their 20s.
Wow.
he said all he did was tell his wife, his then girlfriend, that he wants to marry her, and that was all the cue she needed, and she took it from there. In months, with all the hell and high water that came against them, they're still living very well now. They're an example couple.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, honestly, sometimes it's not. The expectations are okay, but if it doesn't play out exactly that way, it's also okay as long as there's understanding between the two parties. Yeah. Yes. So you understand it's a proposal, you get the message. Yeah, fantastic. It doesn't have to be because sometimes somebody has finished asking you, you're still waiting for the person to come and kneel down. Yeah. Well, another thing about that conversation is that you get to know whether this person actually has these plans, in which case you could hold on, or in which case you could let him know, okay, well, if you have these plans, these are the conditions, or this is what is required for it to go through. Because I also have plans.
Exactly. I'm not suspending my life
exactly.
Because of this.
Yes, because sometimes it needs to be said.
It does need to be said.
Especially if you're someone who, you have, like you now, that you planned to get a certain qualification at a certain time. Yeah. Imagine coming to something as important as marriage, and you are just waiting for somebody. It's like you've handed over control completely to this other person who hasn't really earned the right yet to control your life like that. Yeah. Yes. So it's really important to be able to make that call and know, okay, it's happening or it's not happening, or it's possible or it's not possible, and we're moving on.
We move on.
Okay, so let me see, were there any challenges with preparing for the wedding? Or let me put it this way, since we don't have time. Please share with us maybe one or two things that you think you did that you think, hey, if people do this, it will really help them in their wedding planning.
Okay, so again, my wedding was very distinct. It was very different. It was personalized. It was exactly what I wanted. It wasn't anything I plucked out of any book, or it wasn't to please anybody else. Not even my parents. It was extremely personal, right? And I got my husband's buy-in early, and for me, what I started to do as far as planning for my wedding was concerned was determining what the important things were, determining who the important people to be at each ceremony were, and once I determined what the important details, I was good.
Interesting.
My traditional wedding was a very small crowd. This is what I wanted. And again, I know somebody else may be out there who doesn't want a small crowd. They may want the larger, it's good to personalize your ceremony.
To know what you want.
Yes, right. And I mean, especially for keepsakes, so that when you look back, you're happy with what you created. But once you define what's important to you, what will make you happy, then you start to gradually work towards it. Hopefully, it will be affordable. I mean, affordability was my second reason for choosing the type of wedding I had. My traditional wedding had my husband's family, my family, and very few guests. A lot of other people were online from all over the world. My church wedding also had the same, because I always pictured myself in a wedding ceremony where I could name everybody in the room. Yeah. I could greet everybody by their names. I could be personal. It was important to me, and that's exactly what I had. I didn't want a room full of people that I did not know. Yeah. So that was what guided my choices. Every detail really was backed by that choice.
So knowing what you want
in advance.
It's interesting how this knowing what you want, right, plays everywhere. Yeah. Know what you want when you're even trying to settle or choose who your life partner is going to be. Yep. Know what you want when you're deciding the type of event you want to have, type of wedding, how big, how small, who's going to be in attendance and stuff like that, right? And know what you want also for the early years. Yeah. So some people start out and they struggle. So from things like where are we going to live? What kind of house is it going to be, right? Let me give you a typical example. When we're preparing, we're like, okay, my husband asked, what kind of house should we get first? I said a 2-bedroom apartment because it will be small enough for me to clean without needing help. It was as simple as that. 2-bedroom apartment. So whether we had a lot of money or not so much money, we were looking for a 2-bedroom apartment, right? And we found one, and it was easy. Clean my room, clean the other room, clean the kitchen, the living room, the 2 toilets. Whoa, we're fine. Something so little can cause so much trouble.
A rift, yeah.
And even when you're feeling like I love and respect this person, if they are not so involved at some point, especially when you're stressed out.
Exactly.
You know that thing of coming back from work and coming back to work.
Yes,
exactly. Coming back from work, you've had a full day, and then you're coming back to work.
Yeah.
And you're coming back to serious work, especially if the other person
happens
to be around.
Yes.
And is doing absolutely nothing. So at that point it becomes like I'm angry, I'm upset, like what? These are some things that just causes and you may say I'm not saying anything about it, but then the anger is going to show up somewhere else. And then somebody might start asking you what's wrong, and you're thinking like you really want to know what's wrong.
It gets worse if it's the person who's making you upset asking you what's wrong.
So it's the little things, it's the big things, and these are some things to pay attention to while you're still single. What kind of person is this guy? Is he helping out? Is he not helping?
Yes. How was he raised?
Yes. Unfortunately, some of us don't pay attention to those details, right? Sometimes people just pay attention to how do I feel about this person? Do I love this person? Do I have butterflies when he walks into the room?
When you get married, you will realize that your feelings are very secondary. Because reality will hit you in waves, in different waves. You'll be going through different life seasons together. And your emotions will be
So you actually have to check, can I even just survive with this person?
Yeah.
Like as a normal, ordinary, other human being.
Exactly.
If you can do that.
But I think it is very important to emphasize that if a human being is good, right, innately good, it would tell in how your marriage goes. Because what you get from living with a good person is that they have your best interest at heart. They are kind. They are kind. Someone who's kind will not see you stressing out and doing everything by yourself and be comfortable with that. Just being a good human being will tell you, lend a helping hand.
Yeah.
Even if it's something you've never done before, but you are a good and a
what
kind
can
person.
I do? What can I help you? Exactly.
If your strength is not house chores, can you do market runs? Can you go for groceries?
Yes.
Can you go out?
Now that you bring up market
contributing
runs,
to this?
do you know what happens? We got married, and then of course I would handle most of the cleaning and stuff like that. In fact, we just did what worked for the other person. So there was a time when all the gadgets, I was the one setting them up, the TV, all of those things. There was a time I was even responsible for handling generator. Can you imagine?
Wow.
No. That one was not funny. It's only because my husband was too busy, thanks to bank. But the moment he was out of the bank, he took over that part, But you see, what made me laugh, or what prompted this was market. Because market, I would go shopping, go to buy a few things. I'm used to what's that market? I've forgotten the name now, in Calabar, which was just clean.
Can't help you.
It was cemented, concrete floors. Everywhere was clean. Do you understand? So to come to Lagos and see mud in the market was like, what is this? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I couldn't really deal with getting into the market. So I would buy from the edge of the market. You know those people who bring out the stuff.
Yes.
So that's where I'm buying meat and everything from. And of course, the price is like double or something.
You're paying for clean ground.
So by the time my husband saw what's going on, the guy took over market for us. He started going to market. He'd do monthly shopping. He would go to Balogun market. In fact, so at first I was like, let me just give him moral support, go with him to do all of that. After a while, I just left him. He just handled it completely. Because he was better at pricing. He could deal with all that stuff, right? So he handled it until the point where we could delegate that to someone else. So that was part of helping.
Yes,
right?
it is.
So I would just know, okay, he's sorting out that part, I'm sorting out this part. There's a way you share the work.
While we're saying this, a story comes to mind. If it would help buttress this point. So while we're at the registry preparing for our court wedding, we saw this couple who the man was just standing by the seats. There was scarcity of chairs. The man was standing under the canopy, and then I saw the lady walking with her heels and trying to look for chair for the man. And when she found the chair,
he sat down.
She carried it and brought it to him, and he sat down. And I asked my husband, how are these two people here? How are they here trying to get married? You can tell that this person will not lift a finger. He will not lift a finger. He will not be a helpful partner.
Yes. If at the peak of that's supposed to be like the peak of
this
all
is
the
honeymoon.
romantic feelings.
Yes.
We're supposed to be doing everything possible for her comfort and her joy.
But it's comfortable to see her go through that.
So yes, very strong indicator of what will happen in the future. So those indicators count. So,
don't ignore the indicators.
Yes, so young ladies, single ladies, please pay attention to those things. Those things that happen that just make you not feel good. Think about it. Think about that. Is this normal? And if this is normal and this will continue for the foreseeable future. Is this in their
character?
Yes.
If you're going to always see this, can you live
exactly. With it? Can you live with it if it continues for the foreseeable future? If this person never helps, will you be okay with it? Will you still be feeling in love when you are all stressed out and you feel like you are lifting the load all by yourself? Before they used to say, women, it's the man that is taking care of all the finances, so the woman has to just do all the rest of the work, right? And it felt like a fair balance because he's bringing all the money, you sort out everything else. But now when some women, now, we are going out, we are working, some women are earning even more money. Sometimes there was a time that more money used to be like maybe 50k and 70k. But now sometimes more money is like 50k and 350k. Just imagine like multiples. So there's some scenarios like that, some realities like that.
And as much as that's a reality that some people have to live with, I think that even without money, if a person will be helpful, they will be helpful. Right? A man may be the one providing the majority, but if he's still a helpful person, he will find ways to make your life easy.
And if you don't know how to make, for the guys out there who are watching because you want to find out a few things to help your lady, your wife out, or to learn how you would treat your wife when you get married. If you don't know how to be romantic, you can find out on TikTok.
Why did you have to go to TikTok?
Because so I TikTok is one of the platforms I am on.
Okay.
And I found that when you indicate an interest in something, you will find more of it.
Oh,
right?
I see.
So, for instance, you find these guys, really funny people. So, them who say, my wife is, let's use an example, my wife has just had her baby. And then they'll show you all the things they are doing, how they wake up and clean up, how they make sure she is able to sleep, how they carry the baby and
watch TikTok,
by all means. Then that those that like, it's that time of the month. Let me show you how I care for my wife. They'll just go out. Then they'll come back in with a basket of chocolates and roses and air fresheners and stuff. And then on one episode, somebody brought what they call it, bath bomb that is colored and fragranced. So just all of this stuff so that she can just relax. Or my wife just called and said she's having a hectic day at work, a busy day at work, and he rushes off, gets her a bouquet of roses, comes back, just brought this to make your day.
Go to TikTok. But while you're on
so you
TikTok,
can actually learn something good from
tailor
these
it
places.
to your culture.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can learn something good. Just know, these people need a little more attention during those times.
Absolutely.
Yes, rather than what's wrong with you? Why are you just sloppy? Because that's what we get. That's what a lot of people in Africa get. When that time
Quite
comes,
sad
yes,
to think
it's
about,
like,
actually.
why can't you? It's just like,
And then they'll tell you our mothers used to. Wow.
it's just like some people get a terrible experience or just bad response, bad vibes from the people they are married to when they are pregnant.
Yeah.
So
I honestly can't imagine that.
so you have to actually pay attention to the people that your potential person you're hoping to marry.
Yeah.
Watch how they relate with other people. How do they treat security men?
Do not ignore.
That's a very easy way to
Yeah.
tell. Is this person kind?
Yeah.
How do they treat security men? How do they treat nannies in wherever you find nannies?
Yeah.
Right? How do they treat even their own siblings?
Yeah.
So you just watch out for those things because they help you to have an idea of how you will be treated in the future.
Absolutely.
The siblings one gives you an idea how you'll be treated in the future because they say eventually when you've been together for so long, these people, you're kind of like siblings.
Yeah.
So if they're treating their siblings like
Get ready.
trash.
Is this what you want?
Yeah, quite interesting. So getting married is important, but getting ready to get married
Absolutely.
is important. So what kind of resources did you turn to for knowledge, for insights, just to help you? I think that's the last thing we'll address before we wrap up.
So for me, I find that I was deliberate about surrounding myself with the kind of couples that mirrored what I was hoping to achieve when I got married. I know we read a few books about marriage together as we were preparing, as we started to seriously consider the conversation. But before and beside that, I made sure to surround myself with the kind of couples who were giving off what I wanted to see when I got married. And I got particular instructions, right, to go to my current church's present house, just so that I could see examples of working marriages.
Wow.
That really helped me, and just seeing all those examples. And I refer to this particular one because I wasn't coming from a home where marriage was portrayed the right way. I wasn't coming from a previous church where marriage was portrayed the right way, or as I know it today. So it was very instructive for me. And as I came into this present house, I made sure to keep my eyes on the thing that God sent me here for. I got the other things, but this was the crux of my reason for being here. So I surrounded myself with those types of couples. I asked questions. I engaged. And I talked about marriage like somebody who was interested in the institution. And that helped me a lot. That did help me a lot. Yeah.
Fantastic. I that's just awesome. So that you're learning from real life.
Yes.
It's not just because books is one level, right?
Yeah.
You can use books to learn a lot. I learned a lot from books. My husband and I read a lot of books through university, after university, even after we got married, we're still reading. Because there are levels you have not reached.
Absolutely.
that you need to learn about, right? So books helped. Then there are seminars as well. So we attended these seminars. There was one particular one, Mission to Singles. I think their name is the couple in Abuja, the Asegjeme. I hope I'm saying their name well. They had this program, Mission to Singles, and we would go every Wednesday whenever we were not in school, right? So that middle period where you're not in school, you're not yet serving, or there's a strike and stuff. Yeah,
it means you started to approach the conversation really early. If you refer to school.
Yeah.
So
so started looking out for. So I was prompted to start paying attention to marriage related stuff from GS2.
Oh, really?
When the patron of the choir I was in came and said he was getting married, and he was so excited and talking about this lady, and the way he explained it and talked about how God had answered his prayers and stuff. So he sounded like, wow, this is going to be a fantastic marriage. And if he's getting it right, it would be good to get it right too.
Yeah.
So right from then, I started paying attention to information that would help me get it right eventually, because I was gunning for that kind of, you're about to get married and you feel so
happy about it
and happy, yes, about the whole thing. So wherever we saw something that would help us, you know, initially it was getting to know yourself better, why you act the way you do, you know, all those personality stuff.
Absolutely.
You know. And then later on, when we're in university, of course, older by now, I'm getting nearer the time when you should be talking about getting into a real relationship. So we don't go and start messing up in relationships, getting it wrong, having exes all over the place. Did some more targeted reading now, and then of course found this seminar, which was really good. It was like a marriage university, you know, like getting ready. You know how you have economics 101 or something.
So marriage 101.
So this was, so the guys, the couple really took time to teach us. So, and then now we are opportune to learn from other couples who have gone ahead, are doing well, are happy, you know. So yes, single ladies out there and everyone planning to get married at some point, please don't just assume that it will work out. Is it not love? Or if I love the person, then we will be all right. Please don't assume. The same way you take years to prepare for whatever career, right? Or the same way you take time to prepare for whatever skill you're going to do business with, you also need to learn about marriage, learn about the institution, learn about how to live with people in peace, learn about how to collaborate, do team, like you talked about, how to together solve problems rather than it has to be my way, or you know, how to contribute, how to lead, all of those things. So don't assume that it will just work out. Pay attention to the preparation, not just preparing for the wedding, but preparing for the marriage. And you need time to do a proper job. So at this point, we will wrap this up. We wish that we had all those comments. You know, it's always so much fun. Debbie, I know you're going to watch this. We saw that you were online. We miss you. And everybody else, Dara, Benny, all our fans, Jimoski, KJ, everybody. So please go ahead and leave your comments, share your thoughts. And I would like to, at this point, really thank our special guest, Mrs. Aniema Ilori.
Thank you
for being with us today and for sharing.
Thank you for having me, and I'm glad to share anytime.
Yes. So we'll do this again some other time, but until then, right, I will say this lastly. Share. If you have not yet subscribed, subscribe. And if you got value from our gist, like, okay? See you next time on Sisterhood. And remember, like we always say, in general, common sense is not so common. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you once again for joining us. We hope you got great value today. Our goal is to bring you valuable information to help you make better decisions in your life and relationships. Please do not forget to subscribe, share, and like.